Hey everyone, this is Eric. Welcome to episode 272 of the Sports Ballers podcast. We're drawing closer to baseball season. Caitlyn Clark set the NCAA scoring record, and it's time for another one of our stupid annual competitions. Tonight we'll announce our predictions for all 32 starting quarterbacks for 2024 Week 1. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Sports Ballers podcast. I am busy doing my best air drum impression. Evan is looking at me nonplussed, and Corey is enjoying himself too. How are you fellas doing aside from our rocking intro?
Doing pretty well. Can't
right.
really complain. I
Yes.
mean, I could. I had caught some students cheating this week on a very stupid assignment to be cheating on, but other than that, I
You
can't
should
complain.
name all of them on this podcast.
I should.
Nobody
I
listens to
should,
this
especially
anyway.
because they are my video broadcast journalism students.
So the guys that put us on the air on YouTube are the ones cheating.
Well, no, they don't. They have nothing to do with this podcast.
Well, no, but I'm not talking about this. I'm talking about when we call games.
Well, yes.
So they're a bunch
how
of
about
cheaters.
These
These are the guys I give shout-outs to at football games. At your behest.
Probably one or two of them. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
I'll have to
sounds
say
like
hi.
somebody.
How about that?
I'll have to congratulate them for lasting so long as cheaters.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get to today's action. We've got surprisingly a lot to talk about, given the fact that there's no more football, because we make stuff up to talk about on this silly show. We'll start with the NBA All-Star Weekend. It sucked. Well, at least the All-Star game sucked, and
All-Star game sucked.
other parts
I
of it
didn't
were
watch
kind
it.
of a drag too. But
Some of
some
it
highlights.
was,
There were
but
some
there
highlights.
were some moments that were enjoyable. The dunk contest wasn't really all that impressive.
No.
Like Matt McClung definitely had the best dunk of the night, but like overall it wasn't. It was like last year was better than this year, and last year was probably the best dunk contest we'd had in quite a while.
last year's dunk contest was awful.
I enjoyed last year's. Matt McClung was great last year.
He's not even on an NBA
I know,
roster.
and yet he's
a G leaguer.
It doesn't even matter anymore.
That's how far it's fallen. The fact that we're saying Mac McClung is awesome.
The
no
3-point
idea who that
contest was a little
white
bit
guy.
underwhelming.
Summer League legend Mac McClung.
Summer League legend.
how about
Summer
that?
Oh,
League,
okay.
yes.
He's
So
such
he's
a
a
legend
bum.
in the summer league. He can't even make it into the real league.
That's exactly why he's a Summer League legend.
3-point contest, a
Fox.
little bit underwhelming. However, Steph versus Sabrina was awesome.
That was great.
Even
Even with
as,
Kenny the Jet
even
Smith
with
was
Kenny
trying to
Smith
ruin it.
trying to ruin it. Yes.
Oh my god.
And then the skills contest was pretty fun. I don't know how much of that you got a chance to watch, but I got to see Tyrese Halliburton be an absolute monster in that contest.
Tyrese Halliburton looks like he's terrible at basketball, and yet everything works. His handle is terrible looking.
His
jump
shot is not that
janky.
good. Well, like,
But it
and
goes
and
in.
it caught up to him because I think he got so tired over the course of the skills contest. He had no legs under him for the 3-point contest, and so his bad shooting form caught up to him.
Well, plus the fact that he was running 2 contests. Most people only do the one, but
Yeah.
But yeah, Halliburton was great.
Damian Lillard was a part of 5 different contests over the course of the weekend, which is an all-star record, I guess.
Well, he's got to make it count. You know, these are the opportunities to do something when it
He's
doesn't count.
He's got to make it count. Got to make that watch tick. Is that what you're
'cause-
saying?
No,
What?
Something like
I'm
that?
saying he's got no clutch when it matters. He's never played a good series outside of the first round of the playoffs.
That's gonna be a problem considering that the Bucks are his team now.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. But anyway, Tyrese Halliburton was awesome in the skills competition. My boy Anthony Edwards was not, because he decided to be a goofball and shoot left-handed.
Oh, really?
Which
Yeah.
was
Oh, he's a goofball.
hilarious.
He's a goofball, really?
Oh,
where,
Edwards-
where did he go to school at for 10
He was
minutes?
there for 10 minutes. Why are you mad? I don't understand why you're so mad at him. But anyway,
He's a goofball.
yeah, he was being a
That's
goofball.
surprise.
You know what? It's actually not that bad for a guy to go to that school and be known more as a goofball than like something much worse.
Well,
Goofball's pretty benign.
Jalen Carter has other issues.
Yes,
and
he does.
Yeah.
So, anyway, Damian Lillard, as Corey mentioned, won the 3-point contest. Is back-to-back for him. I think that's his 3rd time overall winning it. So that's his Super Bowl, I guess. As Corey also
It
mentioned,
has to be.
Mac McClung won the dunk contest again. I agree, he was the best dunker. The fact that Jaylen Brown made the finals was silly because his dunks kind of sucked. but I don't really understand that.
The scoring by the judges was so janky, and
ruined
I
the
was
show.
really worried that McClung's was not going to get the score it needed to win because they were being so weird about their scoring.
Well, they wanted Brown in the finals, clearly. Like, that was sort of...
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't really worthy of making the finals.
The only thing that he did that the other guys besides Mac McClung didn't do that maybe was deserving of getting to the finals, and I don't agree with this, was the fact that he made the dunk on his first attempt. But it wasn't a creative or difficult dunk compared
just did,
to the
a bunch
one.
of windmills.
Yeah, if you're gonna give them a minute and a half because it's okay if they miss a dunk for them to go back and do it again, like, you shouldn't be penalizing them, not severely, if at all, for missing the first dunk, especially if it's a really difficult creative dunk.
You should be graded based off of the dunk that goes through the basket.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of having the time limit, is so that you don't miss 14 dunks in a row like Nate Robinson.
Now, if you
did
just
one
blow
time.
a straight one-handed dunk and then you go back and do the same thing, then I'm fine with you penalizing them for that, because how are you missing
dunk
that?
anyway?
Right.
But,
It's a lame dunk.
yeah.
Okay.
It's
Lame
a dunk
dunk,
contest. You can't just do a normal dunk. You got to throw something creative down. But yeah, I do think the judges are a big part of the reason why the dunk contest has fallen off. Because guys like Aaron Gordon have said he's not willing to do it anymore because he got hosed out of winning one. He obviously had the great back and forth with Zach LaVine back in, I think, 2016.
And LeBron ruined the dunk contest for reasons.
Well, I agree with that. He should have participated. And I think the fact that he didn't set a bad precedent. It used to be up-and-coming stars did the dunk contest. Michael Jordan did the dunk contest. Kobe Bryant did the dunk contest. Vince Carter and Tracy McGrady did the dunk contest. Suddenly LeBron James comes up and he ain't here. Where's he at, though?
He doesn't want to do it.
Well,
So?
it's a rite of passage. Step up. Come on. Do the dunk
Rite
contest.
of passage.
Yes.
Get
I
out of
agree
here
with
that.
that.
You can miss
If
me
you
with
want to
that.
be a star player in any league, right, you have to participate in the all-star festivity stuff,
Yeah.
right? Like, if you want to be somebody, then act like you are somebody.
Wait,
you know?
so you're saying, LeBron James has never played in an All-Star game? That's news to me.
I mean, all the other stuff. That's not the
No,
all-star
no.
game. Yes.
No.
Steph Curry does the three-point contest
Okay,
frequently.
good for him, because he wants to do it. That's awesome.
Could you imagine how lame it would be if Steph Curry said, I'm never doing the three-point contest? That would be ridiculous.
He didn't do it the last
It's completely
2 years.
But
invalid
he's
at that
done
point.
it before many times. The fact that LeBron has never competed in a dunk contest is ridiculous.
Okay, so
Just
just don't watch
just
the dunk
dunk.
contest if you don't want to watch it because
Yeah,
he's not in it.
we
which
don't.
is fine.
Yeah,
which
I
is
didn't-
fine.
People
Yeah,
tune
no,
out.
this is
The
this is
three-point
another
contest-
terrible take out of you, Corey.
The
This is
three-point contest has
unbelievable.
become the highlight of the weekend, which is
Real.
it
Oh,
kinda
yeah.
has.
Yeah, the three-point.
That's what people want to see. But anyway, Steph and Sabrina showdown, as Corey mentioned, and I backed him up. Kenny the Jet Smith was seemingly desperate to ruin the vibes of this otherwise wholesome and really cool event. I wasn't really worried, but I was like, the worst thing that could happen is if Sabrina had a bad showing,
Yeah.
because then it would be like, oh, here come everybody that says, why is a woman on the court with the men?
Like, I was rooting for Steph to win, but I was glad that it came down to the final rack.
And I
for
was
him
glad,
to do it.
and I was glad that Steph had to win by putting up a better showing than anybody that competed the entire weekend.
Yeah.
Right? Like, Sabrina matched every single
Yep.
guy that participated in the three-point contest.
Yep.
The only guy that beat her was Steph, and well, he's Steph Curry. He's the greatest ever at this. So
Yeah, but no, Kenny has to come in and talk about she should be shooting from the women's line because that's not where she shoots from. Have you seen highlights of Sabrina shooting in the WNBA? She's not at the 3-point line. She's often multiple feet behind it.
Yeah.
She's shooting NBA distance 3-pointers on a regular basis in her games, and she is very proficient at it.
Yeah, and if she wanted to shoot from the women's line, they would have let her. but
Yeah,
she chose not to.
100% they would have let her. In fact, going in, I thought that there was some mention that she was going to be. I thought she was going to be using a women's ball and shooting from the women's line. They had the women's line marked on the court at one point. They had it projected there, and then they took it away because she was just going to shoot from the men's line. Good for her.
Yeah, and Kenny's sitting there saying, after on the second rack, her legs are getting tired. You can already tell. I'm like, bro, she's outperforming Damian Lillard. What are you talking about?
She also didn't she hit every single shot on her first rack?
Well, I think she did, but I think he was trying to say on the second rack when she missed a couple. See, she's getting tired. That's that confirmation bias coming in. But yeah. So other than that, it was cool. I would be interested to see if they run this back at the WNBA All-Star festivities because they have a 3-point contest as well.
Yeah, it's interesting because the two seasons don't really line up. So like I imagine that she was really training for this because she was the one who initiated the challenge. But like my wife brought this up the other day. It sort of maybe was a little bit unfair to her in a sense because she's out of season.
Yeah.
Right? So I feel like they should then have it go the other way around and do it at the WNBA All-Star weekend and have an NBA player come in, whether it's Steph or somebody else. Hopefully it's Steph. I feel like Steph would do it. He's, definitely kind of picked up the mantle as a champion of women's sports, in particular women's basketball.
Well, and the thing is, this event was not supposed to be a showcase of, see, women are as good as men. It's more of a, see, women can shoot the rock too.
Yeah.
It's pretty entertaining watching Sabrina knock down threes too. And, Caitlyn Clark will likely be in the WNBA sooner rather than later. And we know what she's capable of and what her skill set is. So,
if I remember correctly, last year during the 3-point contest, they actually had a WNBA player there, like participating in the actual contest.
I don't remember that.
I don't think that she performed particularly great, but I believe that there was something like that last year. They definitely had at least one WNBA player who was participating in some event during All-Star Weekend last year.
I spent the whole weekend playing video games, and it was a delight. So I didn't even know this was happening. If I can remember, I will see if I can find it on YouTube or somewhere.
So as we mentioned before, the All-Star game it felt worse than ever, which seems like something we say every year. But
I don't think that it was in fact worse than ever. I think there have been plenty of other All-Star games that were as bad or even worse. But the fact that they gave us this really fun format for the past, 5 years-ish? 3 years, however long it was. They gave us this really fun format where, once you went to the fourth quarter, add 24 points to the leading team's score, that's your target. Whoever gets to that number first wins. Mm-hmm. And you didn't want to be too far back. Like, it made the first 3 quarters a little bit more competitive than they usually were. It made the last quarter really fun to watch. The fact that they gave us that and then took it away, right? It's like, better to have loved than lost than to have not loved at all. It's sort of the opposite of that in this case. Like, it would have been better if you just never gave that to us than for you to give it to us just to take it away.
Well, it's just such an unforced error because it was obviously such a success.
Yeah.
And to walk it back
it was hugely popular.
I mean,
Adam Silver
Evan and I watched the All-Star game
doing?
at Outback Steakhouse in Buena Park and, recall as LeBron's taking the game-winning shot, and I'm just like, that's not going in. And then it
went in.
Bang!
That was amazing.
It was not, but that was not a wide-open shot. That was a contested, weird fadeaway that he took because people were trying to win, man.
Yeah. That was the most exciting All-Star game I've watched in any sport.
If you have a chance, you could go back and watch
that particular game. Yes.
Go back and watch the fourth quarter of the 2020 All-Star game, the first year they implemented this. You had dudes taking charges. Like, you had dudes doing all kinds of stuff to try to win that game. Joel Embiid was swatting shots.
Yes.
Like, it was intense, and they took all that away, and he had Luka
Why?
Doncic.
Why'd they take this away? Like, what is the point of this?
I have no earthly idea.
Reasons, I guess.
Is it for player safety or something?
Luka accidentally hit the square button and took like an 80-foot shot that didn't come close to going in.
It's square.
I did enjoy the meme. It was like when you pick up the controller for the first time in 2 years and you forgot.
Yeah, and he hits the wrong button.
But that was a purposeful decision because
I know it was.
Because he wanted the 2-for-1 opportunity.
Okay, so go down the court and take a normal shot. Don't just throw it from.
I think that the clock was like getting pretty close to the 24 seconds. So he was like, let me
that's
take
not
this
a
now.
real 2-for-1 then. You're throwing up a shot that's never going to go in.
But it's the All-Star game.
At least let Steph take that shot.
And it doesn't matter anymore.
Like, come on, man. So that was dumb. And a bunch of players sort of aired sentiments along the lines of, we don't care, and this is just a break for us. And I'm like, okay, well then what's the point of even playing the game? They decided to get rid of the Pro Bowl and just have a flag football game.
Which is fun. I enjoy it.
It's stupid, but whatever.
It is a little bit stupid, but it's fun.
But if that's what you choose to do, then do that. Like, don't pretend you're gonna play a basketball game.
No.
One thing I saw, I was cooking on Friday night, and I turned my TV on, and I was just like listening, and they had these celebrity All-Star game or something.
It's on Friday night.
Yeah, and I could think about was, I'm sure Eric hates this because there was like, you could declare someone as heating up or something, and their points would count double, or they had a 4-point line or
Beer
something.
pong?
Yeah, yeah. They had there was a 4-point line, and then
care about
you
that
could
stuff.
project
It's a celebrity.
something
it's a
on the
celebrity,
court.
Pretend basketball game. Like, this
Yeah.
isn't meant to, like, nobody's. I guess there's an MVP trophy or whatever for it, but like there's no hardware that actually matters.
I'm not a basketball purist to the point where you can't have a silly exhibition game with some stupid rules.
Right.
The 3-point arc is made up.
Yeah.
That didn't exist.
The
for
whole
first...
thing is made up.
Yeah, it's
this
a
is a
sport.
sport where you can't move with the ball without bouncing it on the
There's
ground with
also
one
a huge
hand.
difference between
Remember that?
a sport that like you are like records matter, like you want to have some level of consistency over the course of history, as opposed to a game between a bunch of celebrities that is not going to make it into the Sports Illustrated Almanac.
Well, Sports Illustrated Almanac doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist anymore, but if it did, it would not be in
Rest
there.
in peace. All right, well, that's enough.
RIP in peace.
That's enough.
They had like hot spots that counted for double or something.
That's like what the Big Three 3-on-3 league that Ice Cube started with AI years ago. I guess
Is that
does it still exist? I don't
I don't know if it still exists.
I think it's
But,
in the
like,
summer.
But they had a
It
4-point
should.
shot. Yeah, it is in the summer, or was at least. I don't know if it still exists. But anyway, let's hop over to let's do college basketball just to get that. Yeah, college basketball. Then we'll do football.
All right.
I'll start on the men's side. We'll start with the Terps because that's my team, and I go to all these games. Corey, Terps are 4-13, and they needs to win, not needs apparently. At least 2 of their last 4 games to avoid their second sub-500 season of the last 4 seasons, and just the 4th in any of our lifetimes.
Oh no!
The previous one was the Danny Manning year, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was like 91-92 and then 92-93, I think, were both sub 500.
Yeah, those are like the post Bob Wade,
right.
Death penalty
Yes.
years. So those basically don't
And then
count.
yes, 4 years ago or 3 years ago now, I guess. Yes.
It was Danny Manning.
Yes.
Yeah, it was 2 seasons ago.
But yeah, whatever it was.
Whatever, 4, 3, 2.
The
Whatever.
year y'all ran Turgeon out of town.
Yeah, because he sucks.
Okay.
Because look what he did. Went sub 500,
Oh, okay.
playing a cupcake non-conference schedule. Mm-hmm. And I'm supposed to be happy with that, according to Evan. I should just be
And now
thrilled.
that might happen again this year.
Yeah, it's a bad season.
Imagine being 500.
I'm sorry that your basketball program has no history and stinks.
At least you guys do have 2 of those 4 games against unranked opponents, so that might give you a chance to stay above 500.
We just lost to Wisconsin yesterday.
That's true.
Are they
You
good?
did.
They were about to fall out of the. I mean, the Big Ten cheated. Like those calls were, like I said, there's nothing about those calls that resembled competence from the refs. So, I gotta wonder. Like those were ridiculous. But yeah, the Terps are struggling. We knew it. But they landed Derek Queen, not Derek Green, Corey.
Or Derek Favors.
Your boy.
Mm-hmm.
Is he still in the league?
I assume so.
He
I
may
don't
still
know.
be in there somewhere. He was a pretty good ball player for a while.
I talked to him for like a second. He's a nice guy.
Oh, that's good.
It was on a shuttle bus on campus. He
was-
didn't fit in the bus.
No, he's gigantic.
Yeah. He had to bend over.
But he wasn't good enough to block Cliff Tucker's 3.
Oh, he was on defense?
Well, yeah.
Oh, okay.
He was out there.
Oh, I don't
Losing
know.
the game. Out there blowing World Series. Anyway, Terps are 14-13. Their tournament hopes are dashed unless they win the Big Ten tournament, which I am not expecting them to do. They did win against Iowa at home, but then lost to Illinois in a close game. I was at both of those games. And then they lost to Wisconsin on the road last night. Late game. It was on Peacock. I didn't watch. So, heading to Rutgers on Saturday. Beautiful Piscataway, New Jersey. I've been there.
Mm-hmm.
The Yellow Jackets, meanwhile, Evan's team, are 11-15 overall. Now I see why you're whining about the Terps almost being below 500. When your
Oh,
team is
no.
thoroughly below 500. 3-12 over their last 15. They snapped a 4-game losing streak by beating number 5 Syracuse.
I don't think they were number 5.
Number
I
5. That
think
doesn't sound
somebody.
right.
I think somebody like moved some things around. I think they beating
Somebody.
Syracuse by 5.
Somebody.
It's probably me. Because I'm milling around in this thing.
Yeah,
Okay,
you
they
keep
beat-
touching things and moving them around.
Well, that's what I
That's
do.
why I'm like fairly certain that one of you guys changed the D in needs to needs.
I don't believe you. That one's on you, dude.
I'll
Anyway-
look up the version history to find out.
Wow.
Okay.
Well, good for you. By the way, Georgia Tech hosts Clemson tonight.
That
apparently.
game just started. I got an alert.
How much are you guys down by already?
I don't know.
Okay. Now we're jumping to Kansas, who was 3-0 against ranked opponents and 0-2 against unranked opponents in the last month.
This month.
Whatever. Okay, fine. Good for them.
No, not good for them. They're beating their ranked opponents, but they can't beat the unranked ones.
I don't care about Kansas.
But Hunter Dickinson plays for them.
Yeah, I don't like him.
Hunter Dickinson is going to play for the Wizards.
Yeah, the Virginia Wizards. Good for him. I will not care about him then either.
Yeah, so good luck to them, I guess, against unranked Texas this Saturday. They're probably going to lose.
We'll see. Top 10 upsets since last Monday. Number 7, North Carolina lost at Syracuse by 7 last Tuesday. Impressively, top 10 teams went 8-0 on Saturday, but then number 2, Purdue, lost at Ohio State, who sucks and just fired their coach, by 4 on Sunday. So a little bit of new coach syndrome there, maybe kicking in for the Buckeyes. Number 15, Creighton surprised everybody by beating number 1 UConn handily last night, leading by 14 at halftime and adding another 5 points to their margin of victory in the second half. Just missing the cut, Auburn, number 13, pummeled number 11, South Carolina by 40.
Yeah, 101 to 61.
That's
Good
a
Lord.
beat down.
Evan, your Yellow Jackets are losing by 8 to Clemson right now at home.
Well,
After 1 minute.
No. 23 to 5 to 15 would be a big score after 1 minute.
Say
They're about
23 to
halfway
5.
That's 18.
That's
Math
18.
piece, so dude, come on,
that
man.
would be some Corey Puffin math.
Yeah.
All right. So ranked matchups of interest. Big noon Saturday, which is it's not really a thing for basketball, but whatever.
It's also not on CBS.
Yeah,
that's
also
why I
true.
put it in there
It's on
because you
Fox.
guys keep saying Big Noon Saturday on CBS for basketball.
What?
You guys have
No.
said that. You
That's
guys have
not-
joked
No.
about it.
No. If the game was on Fox, I would have said Big Noon Saturday.
Number 2, Houston at number 11, Baylor. Houston gets an extra rest day coming off their win over number 6, Iowa State on Monday, but Baylor gets home court advantage for the only regular season meeting between these top 3 teams in the Big 12. Cool. Ladies basketball. Lady Terps 15-10 have some momentum. They've won 3 in a row for the first time since December. They beat Penn State by 15. They host the Rucker tonight, and then they have a big game against number 2 Ohio State on Sunday. Lady Jackets, your gals, Evan, 15-12, above 500. Love
Hey,
it.
look at that.
Hey.
Have a 0-point differential since our last show.
Doing better than the men.
Yes.
That's facts. That's true. They beat Clemson by 1 last Thursday on the road. Then they lost at number 6 NC State by 1 in overtime. So pretty good.
Yeah. Not bad.
They'll be in action again tomorrow night when they host number 20 Louisville. So that will be not in the KFC Yum Arena. It'll be in Atlanta.
Yes.
So let's talk about Caitlyn Clark, who we talked about last week when she didn't set the record against Nebraska, I believe.
Yeah, basically
And
on purpose.
They basically blew the game on purpose too, which was absurd. But anyway, she dropped 49 points in a 17-point victory over Michigan State on Thursday, setting the new NCAA women's record for career points, though she's still nearly 500 points behind Pearl Moore, who scored more than 4,000 points in the 70s before women's basketball became an NCAA sport.
What?
Yeah. Moore played at Francis Marion, which is now a D2 school. She was a 2021 Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame inductee.
500 points seems like a lot. So
Yeah, basically she would have she scored 49 points, which was a career high for her when she did that the other
that's
night.
a lot, yeah.
And you figure with 3-ish games left in the regular season, 6 games in the tournament. If you
The
she
Big Ten
would basically
tournaments,
have right plus the Big Ten tournament. She would basically have to average around 40 points a game the rest of the way to get there. Maybe just a little under that, which
And they'd have to
is
win.
not completely undoable.
Yeah,
but you would have to go the distance in each of those tournaments and do that. That's assuming you play every game in both tournaments.
Well, congratulations, Caitlyn Clark, on setting the NCAA record.
Yeah, she got that at
This
least.
other record, which doesn't seem to be nearly as official, but still very impressive, not happening in all likelihood. Top 10 upsets on the ladies' side. Number 7, Kansas State lost in double OT to Iowa State, 96-93. The Cyclones had an interesting season. They're a team that can beat just about anybody, but can also lose to just about anybody. That sounds familiar. Number 8, Colorado, the Buffs, lost by 1 at number 22, Utah on Friday. Number 11, Oregon State, the Beavs beat number 9, the Bruins, by 2 with a thrilling conclusion to the game on Friday.
Yeah, that was a wild game. I don't know if you guys got a chance to see the replays.
No.
So each team made 2 buckets in the last 15 seconds of the game.
I love that.
It was insane the way it went back and forth. It was really fun to watch.
See, what do you need to do a 2-for-1 from 80 feet then? If you can score 2 buckets in 15 seconds, Luka, what are you doing? In the All-Star game.
Well, that's also helps that the timeout advances the ball past half court.
Do they do that in women's
basketball?
Really?
Yeah, the timeout advances it. So that's how they did it.
Did they do that in high school too?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Don't y'all call the games?
I mean, I call the games and I haven't noticed
I
them.
called one.
I have not noticed
And I
them
asked Corey
advancing.
for the rules and he didn't tell me. He didn't
Oh.
know. So,
You didn't know.
Part
Aren't
of it
you
is
the
also that
analyst?
different high school associations do have slightly different rule books.
Oh,
it depends on if you're
jeez.
following NFHS or some other set of
Some other
rules.
made up thing.
Why?
Yeah, I don't know.
What are we doing? How many different rules can there possibly be?
Well, like here now, like starting this year, you no longer have bonus and then double bonus. We now follow sort of NBA rules where five fouls for the
shots.
quarter,
Yeah.
2 shots, and it resets each quarter.
Do they do?
But that's not necessarily everywhere. So we did play
God.
against some teams this
2
year
fouls
where
in the last
it
2 minutes,
was
is that a
like
thing?
bonus, double bonus.
2 fouls in the last 2 minutes. Is that a thing too?
I don't think that is.
'Cause I love that in the NBA. That's great.
I don't
It's
think
a
that
really
that is a
good
thing in high school
rule.
ball.
It's an excellent rule in the NBA. Anyway,
But yeah, anyway, after the crazy game against UCLA, I guess it was a little bit too crazy for Oregon State because they wound up losing by 8 to number 10 USC a couple days later. But I mean, Oregon State has had a really fun season. They're a team I'm genuinely excited to watch come tournament time.
cool. Upcoming ranked matchups of interest on the ladies' side Thursday, 8 p.m. on Peacock. Number 4 Iowa at number 14 Indiana. This will be Iowa's first action since misspelled Caitlyn Clark's record-setting performance against Michigan. They haven't had any win streak last less than 3 games this season, and as long as they get by Indiana, they should set themselves up for a terrific final game of the season, in which they face number 2 Ohio State on March 3rd. Indiana will have the advantage of home court, though, be playing in Assembly Hall, and their egos were definitely bruised, apparently, when they lost by 20 to unranked Illinois a couple nights ago, so they've got to get back on the horse.
I do enjoy the weeks that I'm not hosting, and I get to like make these sentences extra convoluted because I know that you guys are going to read it.
Yeah, we're going to read it right
and
off the prompt.
you're not going to read it ahead of time. You're going to read it live on air.
Yeah,
I think I skipped
This has
when I
become
hosted.
fun for me.
Well, I could just skip this and...
I did skip it. I just
No,
said,
skipped it.
the teams that are playing and when and on what network, if it's televised
Why even
somewhere.
bother doing the segment at all?
I mean,
It's a good question. Anyway, Friday at 10 p.m. on
We are the sports ballers.
on the Pac-12
Okay.
network. Number 11, Colorado at number 7, USC. Colorado has had a solid season, but they've lost their last 3 games against ranked opponents. All of them ranked below 15th. Now they go on the road to face 2 top 15 opponents this week. Yay! USC is riding a 6-game winning streak, including their win over then number 11 Oregon State on Sunday. They're trying to play themselves into contention for a number 1 seed in the Pac-12 tournament, the last Pac-12 tournament to exist. By the way, did you know Sasquatch's going to the last Pac-12 tournament on the men's side in Vegas? Fun fact.
I did not know
Yeah,
that.
he's doing that.
Oh,
Neat for him.
like a historic thing, like the end of the Requiem for the Biggies, 30 for 30. How they're
Great.
taking the
It
court
is.
apart at MSG because there's no
Sure.
Big East anymore.
I would just want to go hang out with Bill Walton.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
That'd be fun. Imbibe in some things with him as well. All right.
The second of those 2 top 15 opponents that Colorado has to face is number 12 UCLA on Monday on ESPN2. That'll be a 9 o'clock tip-off. UCLA follows USC in hosting Colorado, and like the Buffs currently have, the Bruins have lost their last 3 ranked matchups. And before they host Colorado, they have to host 18 Utah tomorrow night. So tough week coming up for UCLA.
Tony Romo here stepping on the broadcast. Corey just cutting in and taking over. That's what he does.
No.
All right.
I think I do it better than Tony.
Tony was a total fool
He was
on that
terrible.
game-winning touchdown, especially. Just ridiculous. Anyway, let's do a little college football. Let's talk about the new playoff format that we knew was coming to existence. It is a 5+7 playoff format. It almost sounds like a 4+1 college degree situation, which is weird.
What is? I don't even know what that is.
Like it's Maryland has a 4+1 policy where if you basically go a 5th year, you graduate with both a bachelor's and a master's degree. It's basically grad school, but
when Sasso was going to Florida for grad school, he was doing like sort of 2+1, wasn't it? Where it was like 3 years and you get a master's plus a PhD.
He ain't got no PhD.
I know he didn't ultimately finish that, but I thought that that was
he didn't even
an
write
option
a thesis
for him.
No, come on. He wasn't 2+1.
Oh.
Well, if he was,
I thought
it didn't.
I thought that he went there like with that in mind as a possibility, and then just didn't actually follow through on the second half of that. In any case,
do that. You sign up for the whole thing.
In any case, part of the interesting thing with this 5+7 becoming official is that it was between having a 5+7 and a 6+6. Those were the two options, and it really came down to a deciding vote, which was the Pac-12 vote, which is now, for all intents and purposes, the Pac-2 for the next year or two. So they're mulling over their decision. Should we have an automatic bid here? They're obviously not right now. And so their thought is that their best chance for either of their schools to get in would be as an at-large team. So they kind of need an extra at-large bid. Long term is what they're thinking.
So it would be 4+8.
No.
It was between 5.
It was between 5+7 and 6+6, with the sixth of the first half being the Pac-12.
Oh, okay.
But they're not going to have an actual championship until and unless they bring more teams into that conference, because
so they bring teams.
Right, because the NCAA has a rule that in order to be considered a conference, you have to have at least 8 teams. Pac-12 is now down to 2, but they do give you a 2-year grace period. So the Pac-2 has a temporary scheduling agreement with the Mountain West Conference for at least next year, where each of the 2 teams in the Pac-2 will play at least 6 Mountain West opponents this coming season.
The Pac-2 should just play each other on Pac-2 After Dark every week. Just do that.
Just Oregon State and Washington
No,
State. Are we watching this game on repeat? No. It's just the same two teams playing.
Well, no, they should just play a 13-game series for the whole season, right? Just alternate home and away, and then
whichever team wins 7 wins the championship, and they get an automatic bid into the playoffs. There you go.
If you get swept, you get 6 weeks off in addition to the 3 or 4 weeks before the bowl game.
There you go.
But you're not going to a bowl game
and go to class and maybe get a degree. Imagine that.
Well, that's not happening.
Yeah.
All right.
Get swept. Imagine losing 7 times in a row in 7 weeks to the same team.
The Washington Generals out there just getting walloped.
Yeah. So I mean, this is basically this setup. I mean, the conference championship. The conference champions get automatic bids, and then the 7 teams, whoever is the next highest ranked. I don't think this kills any of the debate or argument or whatever. That
it just moves the argument down a bit further.
So team number 13 is just going to be beside themselves. We got screwed over. I can't believe it.
You get a chance to get whooped by Alabama or Georgia. Boo.
Yeah. In their building, no less.
Exactly.
I'll be amenable to those complaints when we have a 13 seed that is unbeaten. Until then,
how does that even happen?
Exactly.
UCF was ranked like 13th or something like that when they were undefeated.
Really?
They'll throw a fit.
Oh, but this was before the they went to a New Year's Six bowl.
They did, yeah. They were. I was being sarcastic. They were ranked higher than 13th, but they were ranked in the top 10.
Well, the rule was that whoever's the highest ranked conference champion of a group of 5 conference, they get to go to a New Year's Six bowl. So that team just now goes to the playoff.
Yeah.
To, I guess, host somebody.
I don't know how they do. They actually give them priority with seeding, or
that I have not
I don't
seen.
know.
I don't know if they've actually made a decision on that, because I didn't see anything regarding seeding. I didn't see anything
to indicate.
But
that.
Yeah,
so
I mean, that. I mean, I feel like it. Yeah, the 5th team out of those 5 might not get priority. Yeah, the first 4 probably are going to be like the 4 best teams anyway. But the 5th team, you never know. Florida State this year got left out, and they were they ended up 6th ranked, going into the bowl games, I believe. So there would have been another team ahead of them.
No, I think they were ranked behind Georgia, and then they got smoked by Georgia.
Yeah.
Somebody tried and somebody didn't.
Yeah, so that'd be the question. Do Alabama and Georgia end up as top 4 or top 5 seeds in that situation.
I think so. Because, like, imagine, I believe the New Year's Six team out of the group of 5 this year was Tulane. So, like, Tulane is in New Orleans, and they have their little on-campus stadium. Imagine. Oh, right. Yeah. Imagine them hosting Alabama or something. Like, that would be crazy.
That'd be good for Alabama.
You know what?
To go to New Orleans and destroy Tulane.
I talked myself into it. They should do that.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
This little school hosting a college football.
Well, they've hosted Super Bowls on that
Alabama
campus.
Going to be in the college football playoff next year.
Yes.
Probably. Yeah.
We'll get him. There's 12 teams.
Yeah.
But no Nick Saban.
Okay.
So what?
All right. I'm just asking.
I mean, there's no guarantee for anybody, right?
I'm just asking questions.
They barely made it this year.
Very good.
All right. So I think that exhausts the conversation when it comes to that.
Mm-hmm.
So let's move to Major League Baseball. We've got a little bit of news regarding our teams. Let's start with the Orioles. The Orioles somehow showed up to camp and everybody was hurt
Already.
right away.
Yeah.
So the first thing I read was that Gunnar Henderson had sustained an oblique injury. Sounds like there's not a whole lot to be concerned about. Just whatever. Also, more importantly, John Means is apparently a month behind schedule compared to the other pitchers throwing. This isn't necessarily a new injury. This is just simply a precaution given the fact that he's coming off of Tommy John and elbow issues at the end of last year. And so basically don't expect to see him on the roster opening day, but there's no immediate concern that he won't be healthy this season. Then there's the real bad news when it comes to Kyle Bradish, who was the Orioles' best pitcher last year, who's dealing with a sprained UCL. We've talked about this on the podcast before. I cannot remember a single time somebody's had a UCL-related injury that they didn't have to have Tommy John surgery.
Particularly a pitcher.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I can't think of an example either. So it's really bad news for Kyle Bradish, and obviously bad news for the Orioles. Obviously, you guys made a huge splash by going and getting Corbin Burns, but now you're basically losing your second best pitcher, which is still a huge loss.
Yeah, and so it makes
in some ways it's almost a bigger loss just because now you have these big these higher expectations because you've bolstered your pitching core the way you have, and this doesn't completely nullify it, but it brings you very close to back where you started before you acquired Corbin Burns.
I mean, back where you started before was a 101 win team,
which is still fantastic.
So,
but is that going? But that was also a team that you guys felt like it was kind of lucky that they got to 100 wins last year.
I'm surprised they won any games.
Do you? Yeah, he definitely.
Well, except for the 10 against Toronto.
He thinks it's lucky that they finished above 500.
Yeah, except the 10 against Toronto. We smoked them. Good Lord.
Yeah, that was
the Blue Jays have this big pay. Don't they have the biggest payroll in the East?
No.
I thought they spent a whole bunch of money.
Jays don't.
Oh, okay.
They've spent a lot of money recently, but they don't have the
Yankees
biggest
still got
payroll.
them beat.
Oh, okay.
The Red Sox have to still have them beat too.
The Red Sox have been slashing payroll though, so you might want to look that up.
I'll look it up.
They've been crying poverty. And that's why they traded Mookie away, because Mookie wanted a bunch of money because he's great.
Mm-hmm.
They've been really trying to get rid of their expensive contracts.
No, you're right. The Blue Jays are above the Red Sox, but no, the Blue Jays are 5th overall in baseball.
And the Yankees are
1. Yankees, Mets, Astros, Phillies, Blue Jays. The Dodgers are 8th.
What?
What's going on with that? That's weird.
I have no idea. It's
all that deferred money.
All the
man.
deferred
It's
money.
Oh, right.
That's cheating.
Jeez.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Oh, okay. But, the Blue Jays spent a whole bunch of money, and we're saying a bunch of stuff, and didn't they have Robbie Ray and all them. Well, not this
Robbie
past
Ray's
year.
Not there anymore.
Yeah, no.
But they went out and they got, and we know they got Kevin Gausman.
You say Kikuchi.
Yes.
Who, Ryan Mountcastle haunts his nightmares.
Well, he's just not been that good since he left Seattle, so which is
Imagine
not usually
that.
how it works.
That's different.
Normally,
Usually somebody goes to Seattle like Robbie Ray and isn't as good.
Yeah, like Robbie Ray.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, there's a real simple solution for the Orioles here, though.
Just go get somebody
sign
else.
Another pitcher.
Yeah.
They're a bottom 5 payroll still. Go get Jordan Montgomery. Go get Blake Snell.
No.
Go get all of them,
Blake
right?
Snell needs to accept the Yankees offer.
Well, he hasn't. So.
No, he hasn't, and that offer's been on the table for a long time.
Yes.
now.
Oh no.
The Yankees they can't get a guy to sign. They just traded for Juan Soto and got you got Marcus Stroman this year too.
Cool. So we have Soto for a year.
It's Juan Soto.
Yeah.
For a year.
Childish Bambino. Remember that?
So go pay him then. That's what y'all do. You go
Yeah.
pay the guy.
Hopefully we
Yeah.
do.
I thought the Yankees fans acted like
Hopefully we do, and hopefully he stays healthy because
The
that's
other-
been an issue for the Yankees.
thought the
too.
other 29 teams were the Yankees farm system.
Yeah, that's
Right?
I
Used
had
to
to
be.
hear so many times. It's like, oh, can't wait to see Felix Hernandez in pinstripes. I'm like, I don't know.
And then it happened.
He's available.
No, it
He
didn't.
is available. You can have him if you want him.
Right?
I don't want him anymore.
Got the Michael Pineda Seattle to New York thing going on with the big glob of goop on the side of his neck.
That's still the worst trade mutually of all time. Like Michael Pineda goes to the Yankees and he sucks and he gets hurt and then he cheats.
And then
he
gets
gets
fat.
really, really fat. And then Jesus Montero shows up to Seattle fat, gets demoted because he can't play defense, and then gets popped for PEDs when he looks like the Pillsbury Doughboy.
Yeah, one of the
So-
biggest mutual.
Where's the
losses
enhancement?
in
It's like Jimmy
trade
Garoppolo.
history.
Where's the enhancement, dude?
I was
Come on.
like Jimmy Garoppolo.
Because he got in trouble for PEDs. You
Really?
know about that?
No.
That happened like last week.
Oh.
Because he skipped tests that he refused to take.
Oh,
tests.
that's who that was about.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so
Which is why he's not going to be starting week 1. By the way.
I just forgot about him because he's not that good.
oh, that's right, he is suspended.
Yeah.
I didn't think about it.
Oh, he's suspended.
Yikes!
I was waiting to get to that segment to bring it up.
Oh.
But why not bring it up now?
I didn't know that.
That's a whiff. Maybe he'll appeal though.
He could, but it's also the off season. It's going to be determined before that point, and it's not going to come down to 0. He's not playing week 1.
But maybe he could push the appeal until the start of the season and play week 1, and then get suspended like week 2 through 4.
Is that a
highly
thing?
doubt that's going to be a thing.
It's not usually
No.
a thing. No.
I know they
no
do that
way.
in baseball,
There's
where
no
you
way.
know
You're
while
trying
you're
to make me scared. You're not gonna make me scared.
Nah, I think you got us with that Aiden O'Connell pick. I think that's a money pick. Anyway, Yankees optimism that Jason Dominguez could be playing minor league baseball rehab games in April or May. That's right, he had Tommy John.
Yeah.
But he was
pretty exciting for those 8 games that he got to play.
And-
He hit 4 home runs, including the very first MLB swing he took off of Jason Verlander.
Justin
Justin
Verlander.
Verlander.
Sorry, yes. Thinking Jason because Jason Dominguez. I'm so excited about him. But yes, Justin Verlander, whose last name doesn't fit on the new Fanatics jerseys properly.
Well, they just
needs to be
just put it underneath. You can still
posted
see
a
it.
picture- Somebody posted a picture
Make the
today
letters smaller.
of a Fanatics jersey. I forget which team it was. I think it might have been the Blue Jays, but it was a number 10 jersey. The 1 and the 0 were
looked
misaligned
terrible.
badly. So Fanatics reaches out in the as a comment on the picture and is like, "Hey, reach out to us, let us know what we can do to make this right." It wasn't a fan who ordered this. This was
No,
an
this is a
actual
Major
Major
League
League Baseball player's jersey.
Oh no!
This is unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable.
What is Fanatics doing?
What is Major League Baseball doing? Where's the quality control?
God.
All right. Anyway,
The quality.
You need quality before you can control it.
Yeah.
that's the whole point. Anyway, he's a position player, so Tommy John surgery for a position player isn't as big of a.
No, it's not as
hurdle.
big of a deal, and I
You can
believe,
play through it and you
and
recover quickly.
the expectation is that he is going to begin a throwing program this week, so that should put him on track to be playing some minor league baseball games in April or May and getting up to potentially the Major League roster at some point. Obviously, it's a very packed outfield for the Yankees right now between Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, brought in Alex Verdugo.
Really?
Yeah, Alex
Oh.
Verdugo is a Yankee. So it's a very packed outfield. There's 1 or 2 other notable
boy,
players.
Giancarlo Stanton.
I'm not even counting Giancarlo Stanton, but there's a couple other guys who could be competing for some playing time out there. So we'll see what happens with Dominguez. But again, he was really fun to watch for that 1 week stretch last year. So hopefully he does find his way up there.
Is he better than young Gervis Solarte
Yeah,
or Greg Bird?
he's the number 2 prospect right now in baseball.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So probably
He's-
better
he-
than both of them.
He's the one Yankee prospect that we're super excited about.
That
Yeah,
anybody
that you
has
somehow
ever
didn't
heard
have
of.
to trade for Juan Soto, which bothers me still.
Yeah.
Come on, Padres, what are y'all doing?
So the other bit of news for the Yankees is that Aaron Judge really wants to move down from the 2nd to the 3rd spot in the batting order, which I think makes sense.
Why?
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't
So
make sense at all. You should be batting second.
Who should bat ahead of him?
why should he bat second?
Because the third spot is not where you want your best hitter. You want your best hitter in the second spot.
Historically, the Yankees' best hitters have been the guys who hit third. As far as like driving and runs and like
telling you
like
what
using.
the analytics say. You want the best hitter either second or fourth. You don't want him third.
So what he
Lou
wants
Gehrig
is
batted
for us
fourth.
to have DJ LeMahieu first, and then Juan Soto second. Put Aaron Judge third.
Okay, I don't,
Unnecessarily
I
cute,
don't agree with
right?
that.
Just rank your best hitters by how good they are, 1 to 9, and then bat them in that order.
No,
You need to take into consideration power numbers and things like that.
the way it works is your three best hitters bat 1, 2, and 4. The third spot is not where you want him because the most likely scenario, he's going to come up with nobody on and 2 outs. That's not a good situation for your best hitter to come up in. If somebody gets on base, he's going to come up to hit fourth anyway. And if nobody gets on base, he leads off the next inning and can start a clean inning. As
But
one
if
of
you
your
put
best
your
hitters.
best two hitters 1-2, why would you say the odds are that your third best hitter is going to come up?
Because
with
what
2
happens
outs
most
and
of the time, a dude
and-
comes up to hit. He usually gets out, even if he's great.
It's true.
Yeah.
Check the math, Corey.
Yes. Come on, man.
Yeah, which is,
I don't buy it.
you don't buy it.
I don't
Well,
buy it.
You don't get to not buy it.
think the analytics are
men
wrong.
lie, women lie, numbers don't. Okay,
Numbers
you don't get to
absolutely
not buy
lie.
it.
Numbers lie all the time.
Yeah, unbelievable. I don't buy it. We just told you.
Anyway, Blake Snell, as Corey mentioned, still out there as a free agent. There's a recent article about an offer from the Yankees that they made a while ago, but that was before they signed Marcus Stroman, who got signed for basically $25 million on average a year.
What?
Over the course of 6 years, which
Yeah,
is that
and
a lot these days?
It's
Yes.
a decent amount, yeah. But Blake Snell wants either a longer term contract than the 6 years the Yankees offered him, or he wants $30 million per year.
Well, he's better than Marcus Stroman, so
Yeah,
he
he
should get
is.
both of those things.
He probably should.
He's a 2-time Cy Young Award winner.
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit frustrated the Yankees are not updating that offer because he's
okay.
just sitting out there. But like, the longer you wait, the more likely somebody else is going to come in with an offer, and then they end up getting him.
Well, how much do the Yankees care about staying under the
luxury
I have
tax.
a new word for it.
I don't know, but like they were in the Shohei Ohtani sweepstakes, so they can't care that much. They didn't.
Were they actually in it, or were they fake in it? Like the
I mean,
Orioles
that's a
were
fair.
in
That's
it
a fair
too,
question.
right?
'Cause
Like,
that's a fair question. I don't know because, like, the Yankees are out here complaining about, oh, Shohei Ohtani didn't even like mention to us that he'd be willing to take deferred money. It's like, well, you didn't ask. Maybe like I don't know what happened with him and the Dodgers. Maybe the Dodgers asked him and he was like, yeah, that's fine.
Dodgers got away with murder there, man.
He's gotten away with murder like 3 times this offseason. Everybody's
they
getting
just kept
deferred
doing
money.
it, yeah.
Everybody's getting like $1 million this year, but they're gonna get like another $22 million some year in the future.
$68 million down
Whatever.
the road. Yeah. Insanity.
Good
All right, so we'll see what happens with Blake Snell. I'm curious to see if he signs with the Yankees. It doesn't seem like it's going to happen at this point because if the Yankees were really interested in getting him, they would go get him.
And I don't know why they're not. Like, this is the reigning National League Cy Young winner. He's a great pitcher.
He's just available.
Still young. He's healthy.
All this is true.
Just
And
go get him.
and as a left-handed
Just do it.
as a left-handed pitcher pitching in Yankee Stadium, that works to his advantage because going up against right-handed hitters, it's really tough to hit home runs in Yankee Stadium as a right-handed hitter. Same thing why I want the Orioles to go get him is because the Orioles have a short left or short right field porch, but a vast left field at this point that plays well for left-handed pitching.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all we have for baseball. We will have our preview starting up in a couple of weeks. Our first preview will be of the AL and NL East divisions. That will be the week of March 6th. We have not set a specific date, but we are just going to assume they are Wednesdays tentatively. But we will obviously keep you guys updated. And then we'll have the other divisions mapped out the next couple of weeks, and then our final picks Wednesday, the night before opening day. So I think there's some teams playing in Korea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Dodgers and the Padres are playing in Korea.
So obviously
That's why they reported for spring training like almost a week before all the other teams.
So obviously we'll handle that. We'll still handle opening day predictions as if that series, like, we're not going to get caught up in, we got to do it before that series starts. That's dumb. It's one series.
I'm going to set my alarm and watch that, though.
Oh, yeah.
I think it starts like 5 in the morning Eastern or something.
Yeah, wake up and tune into some
I wonder if
baseball.
those games count for fantasy baseball.
They
I'll look
should.
that up.
That's your domain, dude.
I will look that up. Y'all still need to accept the invite to the league. Still haven't done
I
that.
haven't done anything.
Well,
Yeah,
why
'cause
do you
the three-
keep changing the platform to something else that I've never heard
We've
of?
changed it once. It's our
Just leave it
first
where it
change.
was.
This platform is a lot better.
Sure.
All right, whatever.
Okay.
Defending champion here, so I'll defend my title wherever you tell me to go. All right. Let's get to our silliness to finish the show up, because I think that's all the other topics we've discussed.
Yeah.
We do our quarterback predictions every year at the end of the previous season. Usually we try to do it the week of the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
We
Although
got pushed out a
last
little
year
bit.
we didn't do it until like the first week of March.
Okay, well,
We were very late last
So we're
year.
ahead of the curve comparative to last year.
Yes.
What we do is we pick who we think each team's starting quarterback will be at week 1 next season, and we rank them based off of our confidence. So the person we believe is most likely to be starting for a specific team gets 32 points, and our least confident pick gets 1, and everybody else is in between. Pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
So we're not going to go through all of our picks because that would be just obscene.
And they are on our website. I've actually already published them to our website, so you can find them there. We'll send a link out on Facebook and Twitter later tonight, so you can see all of our picks there. But yes, we're just gonna go over the ones that
We're going to highlight some interesting picks. We'll start just for fun. Our 32-point ones, the guys that we are most confident in, which is, kind of fun because we all kind of agree that all of these guys should be ranked very highly.
Yeah.
Evan and I picked Patrick Mahomes with the most confidence to start for the Kansas City Chiefs because,
Obviously.
obviously he's going to be starting for the Kansas City Chiefs. Corey decided to be a homer and picked Jared Goff to be starting for his Detroit Lions.
No, actually, I don't think that Patrick Mahomes. No, I'm just kidding.
This is moot because this is going to cash. So.
Yeah. So the for me, the last I think I've predicted Patrick Mahomes with 32 points. Each of the last 2 or 3 years,
And what happened?
maybe every single year that we've done this.
And what happened?
Have you been
And
right
he's
all
done
the
it. And I've
time?
been right, which is great. And I still have him very high. I think I have him like with 30 points right now. So
What are you doing?
The
You
reason I didn't,
refused to take the easy money. Okay, you picked the
So-
Jets 17 times and was
the
wrong
point is
all the time.
all of the top ones are the locks. So I want to go with who's gonna be the most fun at the top. So for me, my quarterback Jared Goff, most fun, 32 points.
Okay, fine.
Second is also the guy that Eric has second, by the way. It's not Josh Allen. It's C.J. Stroud with 31 points for the Houston Texans.
Yeah.
Because we like Stroud. Stroud is fun.
That's not why I picked him there.
Because he's your
No, I didn't
taxi
pick
guy?
him there because of that either. I think that he's
Fantasy? What?
taxi. He's a taxi quarterback.
I thought you were saying fantasy.
what's a
Weird.
taxi squad. Anyway,
Like, what?
no, so, okay, we're not doing this. We're not getting into why'd you pick him 30th instead or give him 30 points instead of
we're
31.
not.
But I picked him because I think he's least likely to have any weird, goofy injuries because Josh Allen's a maniac. So anyway, it doesn't matter.
Anyway, yeah. No, I mean, these guys are all
These guys are all going to be bubble wrapped anyway.
The only reason that any of these guys that we have 25 and up to not start week 1 would be a freak injury during training camp or preseason.
And that could happen to anybody.
Yes.
So let's talk about a New England Patriots quarterback that we are all unanimous on and have relatively low confidence, understandably. We
It's
all
in here
have.
twice.
Yeah, we all have.
We all have. What? Evan, why are you
It
interrupting?
says New England Patriots there, and then New England Patriots again.
It does, Corey. You listed it twice.
yeah.
Anyway, we have reigning Heisman Trophy winner Jaden Daniels going to the New England Patriots, presumably being picked. They got the 3rd pick overall.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
we are all on that page. Corey has 3 confidence points. I have 4. Evan has 6. So virtually indistinguishable. We're all on the same page.
Basically, what my expectation, I'm assuming that it's probably the same for you, and this is why you guys picked him, is that he's probably the 3rd best quarterback, but I don't think that the Patriots are a team that's likely to try and move up to 1 or 2 in the draft. They're going to stay put, and it's weird for me because Bill Belichick's not there anymore, but Jaden Daniels just kind of feels like the quarterback that the Patriots would draft there.
I
So
feel like-
say that.
just from like I haven't watched any film yet, of course, because we haven't gotten to that stage. But like I did read
You know who Jaden Daniels is?
Yeah.
Have you seen him play quarterback?
No, but like I
Never?
read some scouting reports. So like I did a little bit of reading, and just like from what I read about him, he feels like a similar style quarterback.
To Tom Brady?
No,
To Mac Jones?
sort
to
of.
Drew Bledsoe?
No, not Drew Bledsoe. Sort of to Mac Jones. More exciting than Mac Jones.
What? No. Mac Jones was not exciting.
That's why I said more exciting than Mac Jones.
Well, that's easy to do. I get the sense that the Patriots, I get the sense that they regret picking, who was it, Sony Michel or somebody in 2018
They
and
drafted
N'Keal Harry.
No,
instead of
it was,
Lamar.
It was they also drafted a lineman. I forget what his name is. Isaiah Wynn. Is like a guard. They drafted him like 23rd, and then they drafted Sony Michel 30th and didn't pick Lamar, which I was stunned. I stayed up and watched the whole draft, and then I saw the Ravens trade. I was like, oh no, they're gonna get Lamar, aren't they? And they did.
Yeah. So I get the sense that the Patriots don't want to make that mistake again. I feel like that's the same reason why the Steelers picked Kenny Pickett, because Dan Marino was right there at Pitt, and they let him go somewhere else, and they're like, oops.
Yeah, because Kenny Pickett and Dan Marino deserve to be in that conversation together.
I
Kenny
mean,
Pickett, who can't throw a touchdown pass ever, apparently.
That's their one similarity, right? Is they both were Pitt guys.
Did Dan Marino do a fake slide too?
I don't know. But yeah, that's why I have Jaden Daniels there, because he's a tremendous athlete and a good passer too.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to the Cincinnati Bengals, which we all agree Joe Burrow is going to be the starting quarterback. Corey and I have less confidence than Evan. Evan ranked him with 30 confidence points, which means that's his third most confident. Corey and I were in the low 20s. Corey was at 20,
yeah,
and I was at 21. I mean, the only reason I ranked Burrow lower is because he just every year seems to have some preseason injury silliness going on that brings his status into question.
I also can't help but be just a little bit nervous because of the freakishness of the wrist injury that he sustained. Like, he hasn't started throwing yet, he's suggested he's very confident that he'll be able to start throwing in the next month or two, but like I just there's a little bit of nervousness there for me. Like,
7 more months.
He
got hurt 3 months ago.
That freakish of an injury, for all I know, that could be career-ending.
Not gonna be career.
I hope it's not.
Career-ending.
I sincerely hope it's not, because I love Joe Burrow. But that's a kind of freak injury that you're like, that could be anything.
What?
So,
He hit his wrist on a helmet, right?
No.
What happened to him?
He threw a touchdown pass on a swing route to Joe Mixon,
Right.
and as he released the ball, he just like grabbed his wrist, and that was it. There was no contact. There was nothing.
There wasn't
hit it on
anything
a helmet.
before that.
No.
Okay.
I thought he hit it on a helmet.
I thought he hit
No,
on a helmet.
he had the wrist like wrapped a couple days ago, and there was this
there was
law
some
about how maybe they were like covering something up,
yeah.
but then nothing came of that. So I don't know. I don't know
think
what
they
to
were
believe,
covering
and that
something
makes
up.
me concerned that this was a freak injury that could be anything.
Okay.
I feel like you don't know what to believe, but you added something else that's not one of the original choices to believe, right? Like,
That
What?
That was a word salad. What
Yeah.
are you talking about?
like
You're saying that Corey created a situation in his mind where this somehow turns into a career-ending injury despite
Yes.
no reason to believe that. Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
I have to base my confidence on something, and I'm
I-
a little bit
I-
I'm a little bit not confident
I'm a
right
little
now.
unconfident just because of the
I'm
history of
lacking
Joe Burrow,
some
but
confidence.
I'm not worried about this
I
specific injury.
I am unconcerned.
I mean, again, these are probably all going to cash, so I'm not
Yeah.
really worried about this.
I mean, if I spent too much time thinking about this, like my lowest number would have been 4 again, and I'd have to go back and fix that.
All right, so the most interesting one so far that we have is the Pittsburgh Steelers. We have 3 different quarterbacks
Yeah, we do.
starting for the Pittsburgh Steelers week 1. Corey has 1 confidence point on Russell Wilson,
Russell
Mr.
Wilson.
Unlimited.
Mr. Unlimited,
I've
Mr.
got-
Very Limited, Mr. Extremely Limited.
I've got 3 points on Justin Fields, not double digits like Corey said to me on Instagram earlier. It had me freaking out. Like, wait, what? I put how many points on Justin Fields? And Evan is sticking with the Kenny Pickster.
I get the sense that the Steelers are in their, general conservatism of how they run their organization. Like, it's only been I think 2 years with Kenny Pickett. Like,
2 bad years.
I don't think they're in that much of a hurry to send him up the road like maybe they should be.
That I agree. I don't think that Kenny Pickett is going to be on a different roster. He's going to be on the Steelers this year. I'm not super confident that he's going to be their choice to start. I think that there's a good chance that they're going to get somebody. That said, to get Fields, you have to trade with the Bears. I don't think the Steelers are going to trade with the Bears.
The Steelers don't like parting with their first round picks.
Why would they trade with the Bears for Justin Fields? That doesn't really make any sense. And to Evan's point, they don't like parting with their first round picks, and that's the only. You would have to give up at least one of those to get Justin Fields, I think, because
Why?
because if not, then there's zero chance that the Bears don't keep Fields.
Why would the Bears expect to get a first-round pick for a subpar quarterback with 1 year left on his rookie deal?
Then they're
Because
going to
somebody's
keep
gonna pay
Fields,
that.
and they're going to trade their first overall pick and get a haul.
No, they're
No,
not.
they want a haul one way or another, and if you can't get a haul with Fields, they're gonna get it with the first overall pick.
They're not trading the first overall.
I feel like the Falcons would trade a first for Fields.
No.
Why?
Why would no? They're not gonna
I
trade
thought
the
about
8th
the
overall
Falcons.
pick for Fields.
Like I kind of did I was swapping the Wilson to the Falcons and Fields to the Steelers, and I kind of had them flip flopping a
No.
little bit. I did.
Let's not accuse the Falcons of knowing what they're doing.
Yeah, I think the Falcons would be more likely to be dumb enough to give up a bunch of stuff for Justin Fields, but
I feel like of the free agent quarterbacks or quarterbacks who are potentially going to become a free agent, because it seems like Wilson might be heading that way with Denver, because it seems like they want to part ways with him. That's part of the reason that they sat him for the end of the season. He seems like the most likely team or guy that the Steelers would end up landing here.
I mean, I looked up the betting odds and they said Justin Fields is going to the Steelers, so
Oh,
you know.
okay. I didn't think to look that up.
Yeah, that's kind of an important thing to look up in these situations. But anyway, Kenny Pickett, I agree, Corey. He's going to be on the Steelers because nobody wants him because he stinks. He's going to
He's
be
still
a
on his rookie contract. Like,
so
No. So what I'm saying is he's
So,
still
yeah,
going
he
to
can
his
just sit
rookie
behind
contract,
him.
so it's not like they're going to cut him. They're either going to move him and they're going to keep him, and they're not going to be able to move him.
yeah, he's not going anywhere. So that is definitely an interesting spot to look because I think that there's got to be some sense of urgency from the Steelers. They haven't made the playoffs since 2020.
They were in the playoffs this year.
Oh,
They
sorry, that's
lost
right.
to Buffalo.
The stupid seventh. Yeah, okay. They haven't won a playoff game since 2016. They haven't been a real playoff team in a long time. So, come on. They haven't been to the divisional round since 2016.
Yeah.
That's bad. I expect more from the Steelers, and Kenny Pickett throws like 1 touchdown a year. Like he's
A touchdown every other week.
He's comically bad at throwing touchdowns when he's a quarterback in the NFL. It's almost impossible to be as bad as he is at throwing touchdown passes. Anyway, let's move on to
He might have the record for the lowest touchdown percentage
he
for a
does. I think
he
quarterback who has
does.
made
I've
as many
heard that.
starts as he has made.
and he's doing that in the 2020s. He's not doing that in the 1920s. Like, come on, man. What are we doing here? The forward pass was invented a long time ago, dude. Figure it out. All right, Cleveland Browns. We have Deshaun Watson, obviously. Corey and I lower than Evan. Evan's got 22. Corey and I have 10 and 11, respectively.
Why? I don't under. I mean, I guess I understand why y'all are so low, but like
I just didn't want to put a lot of
the
points.
Browns are stuck with him, right?
No, I
like
agree.
this is
Yeah.
the marriage they signed up for and the bed they made, right?
Yeah, that was how
they can't get away from this.
I
Yeah.
categorized my picks. I went with locks first, which is like players that are under long-term deals or rookie contracts that teams are happy with, more or less.
Yep.
Well, Deshaun Watson's not in that group. He's in the no-choice group, along
Yeah.
with Bryce Young, Derek Carr, Daniel Jones, Kyler Murray, Deshaun Watson. So I'm going to rank him lower than all these other dudes.
Oh.
I'm still sure he's going to start for
Yeah,
them,
I'm confident
unless he
about
gets
that,
hurt.
too.
But I gotta put 32 guys down. He's
Yeah.
one of the lower ones out of those. I don't really have that many guys that I'm like, I don't know if he's going to be there. Like 2/3 of the league, I'm pretty damn confident are going to
Well,
be.
Yeah.
where
and
they're
to
supposed
that
be.
point, the next team on our list is the Jacksonville Jaguars, and it's interesting to me that Evan has 23, you, Eric, have 27, I have 15, and the reason is because he's in that category for me is Deshaun Watson, where are the Jaguars really happy with Trevor Lawrence? Why would you be? He hasn't been that good, but you're stuck with him right now.
I feel
That's
like
why I put 23 on.
He's gonna
They're
be
stuck.
he's gonna start, but like they're not thrilled about that. They shouldn't be, at least.
I feel like there's not a huge difference in terms of this exercise between the guys who are locked because their teams are happy with them and the guys who are just stuck,
Sure. I agree.
right? Like
But if
everybody's
that
stuck.
said,
But I'm more likely I'm going to put the guys that are stuck with lower, just because
right,
they
and I
want to.
and I think that
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence they're stuck with Trevor Lawrence. It's much less likely that they would move off of Lawrence than the Browns would move off of Deshaun Watson if the opportunity were to present itself. I don't know what that opportunity would be, but that's why I put a few extra points on Lawrence over Watson. But like they're in the same camp. for
I
me.
feel like Trevor Lawrence is he already the best Jags quarterback? Like, is he Byron Leftwich?
He's
Is he
no,
better than?
Mark Brunell was better.
Mark Brunell was better. Byron Leftwich was better.
Okay.
Well, the thing is, but Corey, I don't agree with your assessment that the Jags aren't happy with Trevor Lawrence.
Who are they going to get
Like,
instead?
I agree with you that he hasn't performed well.
Well,
I'm
that's
saying,
the same question you asked about the Browns. Who are they going to get instead?
But I
Yeah.
would bet you, not
$5
$5 because I would
Oh.
lose somehow.
How much? how much better than Watson was Lawrence this past year?
Much better.
Really?
Watson was garbage, and he was never healthy, and he's got a rap sheet. Like, that matters too.
Yes, that matters. But that aside, was Lawrence really that much better?
I think he was. Watson was really, really bad. Lawrence was at least serviceable. He was underwhelming, but he was serviceable.
I think that Watson would have been serviceable in the same way if Chubb had stayed healthy. The Jaguars had the benefit of having Travis Etienne the entire season.
Well, if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, every day would be Christmas, Corey, but that didn't happen.
Thank you,
Okay.
Mary Poppins or
Yes.
whoever, Mother Goose over here.
Anyway, no, but I would bet you Trevor Lawrence is going to get a big-time contract extension this offseason.
From the Jaguars?
Yeah. Who else is going to give it to him? Nobody else is allowed to. They're going to do it. Again, I get your trepidation. I agree with you. But they're not going to give up on the number 1 overall pick, the guy who's supposed to be the generational talent. They're going to invest in him, rightly or wrongly. It's going to happen.
Because the other option.
I'm sorry. Hold on. They're not. All right. Okay.
What choice do they have? They can let him walk, and then they can get.
Go back into the soup of trying to get
Yeah.
another quarterback, or they can go with the guy that's supposed
They can
to be
get.
good.
They can bring Blaine Gabbert back, right? He's still in the league doing
He's
something.
Still floating around somewhere.
Yeah.
Get Blake Bortles back.
Yeah, Bortles or
Boats.
Bortles might have also been better than Trevor Lawrence. No, I'm just kidding.
What?
No.
All right, let's move
Bortles
on.
and Gabbert are like the same person.
Let's move on. We've got the Indianapolis Colts. We're all pretty confident, but I'm the least confident in Anthony Richardson being the starting quarterback. This is just because of injuries.
Yeah, I kind of assumed that was probably where you were coming from, and that's a fair point. My 18 again. Like I feel very confident that he's going to be their number 1 option.
Yeah.
But you're
That's why
absolutely
they
right.
picked him.
Considering the rapid succession of the 2 concussions that he suffered that
And the shoulder
ultimately
injury,
basically
too,
kept
yeah.
him out for most of the season, the shoulder injury that ultimately did his season in, you do definitely have to take that into consideration. And coming into his sophomore season with very little playing time, there's no reason to believe that he will have developed the skill of avoiding those sorts of hits that quickly. Hopefully he can develop that skill at some point in his career, but you have to play games to develop that skill. And that's we've seen a number of quarterbacks with his playing style that just don't get the playing time to be able to develop that that ability to keep yourself safe on the field.
Yeah, plus the fact that he doesn't have the time means he's going to probably play quite a bit in preseason, which increases the chances of something happening. So, again, I could have put him anywhere from where I had him to where you have him. It's just a matter of injuries raised my eyebrows a little bit.
That's fair.
All right, let's move on to the Raiders, where we are all over the place.
So we're the
erroneously
Raiders.
am because I picked Jimmy Garoppolo, having forgotten, even though I made fun of him earlier on this podcast for this, that he got himself apparently suspended for violating the PED policy. Again, where's the enhancement? I'd love to know.
Maybe that was enhanced.
Maybe it was male enhancement, but not performance.
Maybe the performance was enhanced. How frightening would that be? It could have been even worse
Not very
somehow.
Also got injured as usual, but I put 9 confidence points on him. That's looking like a big dud. Corey probably smartly went with Aiden O'Connell, the backup quarterback for the Raiders, because, Jimmy will be back and he will have to start because they have no choice.
Yes, because of the amount of money they're paying him. However, I mean, I look at Antonio Pierce and the program that he's building out there. And I think that he really likes. I think he likes Aiden O'Connell to an extent.
He was pretty good.
He played pretty well. Obviously not anything that like really makes your eyes bug out. Like, oh my god, but he was solid. And the Raiders aren't really in a position where they're very likely to get, like as far as their draft position,
right.
They're not really in a spot where they're likely to get a quarterback who would be a week 1 starter, in my opinion, over the guys who are on the roster. I mean, you're not going to start like if you draft, and I'm just going to use him as an example because Evan has him with 2 points here. But if you draft Bo Nix there, right, which is possible, Bo Nix could absolutely fall to that position in the draft. But if you take him there, are you going to start Bo Nix for 2 weeks and then start Jimmy Garoppolo after that? Like, what does that do to a rookie's confidence if you start him for the first 2 games of his career with the plan to bench him immediately?
Bo Nix is like 28 years old.
Yeah. Bo Nix is a confident guy. That's why he throws the ball to the other team so much.
But 28 years old or not, he's a rookie in the NFL, and that mentality, I think, to an extent, is going to be the same regardless of your actual age.
If Bo Nix is drafted in the first round, I might just stop watching football.
I feel like he's going to be drafted in the first round.
I think he's going to be picked in the second round.
I think he's going to be a day 2 pick.
Yeah. He's not a first rounder.
We'll see.
Right? Like,
we'll see. I'm still about a month away from like starting my draft research process.
If Bo Nix was a first round talent, he would have been in the draft
he wouldn't
3
have
years
played
ago.
6 years of college football for 2 different teams.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on. Speaking of Bo Nix,
Evan, you want to talk just a little bit about your pick because you did take him.
Bo Nix. I mean, I had to put somebody in there, and like you said, I'm like, well, the Raiders, they're not really picking. They're not picking in the top 3, So I feel like they're gonna be like, well, Jimmy G sucks, as we know, and Aiden O'Connell's just a guy. So I feel like, well, what if we put a flyer on this Bo Nix guy? He made stuff happen, in the second or third round, like. I mean, this is a complete shot in the dark. I have no idea.
Yeah.
So,
well,
2
that's the
points.
same for me on the next one. And I imagine Corey as well, because Corey picked Bo Nix to be starting for the Denver Broncos with 4 points. I picked Michael Penix Jr. to be the starting quarterback for the Denver Broncos. And Evan picked Kirk Cousins. So we have 3 different ideas of how
we have 3 different ideas.
None of these guys currently are under contract to play quarterback for the Denver Broncos, and somebody else is. And none of us picked that guy.
No,
so was that?
Did.
So
Russell Wilson.
So we are all pretty confident that they're moving off of Russell Wilson.
Yes.
It was the funniest thing. On the Vegas odds, he was like a plus 300 to go back to the Broncos. You never see odds for a guy under contract with the team to be that high.
Under a large contract.
Yeah,
there was an article that came out this week about how the Broncos might be softening their stance and might be open to bring him back. But here's the thing.
That's not true.
Here's the thing.
Nonsense.
Even if it's true that they would be open to bringing him back,
not.
which I don't believe. I agree with you. It's not. But just for argument's sake,
oh boy,
if it were, why would he be enthusiastic about coming back to the Broncos after they benched him for the final 2 or 3 games of the season as a ploy to make sure they didn't have to pay him his injury? Like there was like an injury guarantee in his contract.
Like what the R-Words did with RG3 toward the end of that relationship.
Yeah. Like why would he then come back to you? So like there is even if they decide not to move him somewhere else, and I'm completely wrong about him playing for the Steelers or anybody else, right? He's not going to play for the Broncos. He would hold out or something in that situation. He's not going to play football for the Broncos next year. That is a guarantee. You can lock that in.
I get the sense that Russell Wilson, though, is kind of delusional.
He's absolutely delusional.
Just sort of, he's not even floating in the same ocean as everybody else. He's just doing something, right? So, like, I feel like if the Broncos told him that they wanted to bring him back, I feel like he'd believe that.
I think that he has just enough of a grip on reality that would not be the case.
He has 4 bedrooms and 18 bathrooms in his house. Right? Like, you don't seem to have a very strong grip on anything if you have 18 bathrooms in your house.
His mansion is on the market.
Oh, he's gone.
Yeah, exactly. The house is on the market. It's over. It's over. All right,
So I have Bo Nix, and again, this is really just a shot in the dark. I feel like I think it was PFF that I was looking at. They have him ranked as like their 4th quarterback prospect.
Okay.
And so I feel like that's around where the Broncos, if they do decide to take a quarterback in the first round, they're going to get the 4th best quarterback. So if they do take a quarterback in the draft, it's probably going to be Bo Nix, in my opinion, because I don't think that Michael Penix will last back to their next pick, and I don't think they're going to take Penix at that pick.
I don't think Penix is a first rounder.
Maybe they should. Penix might be the better quarterback, and again, when I actually get a chance to grind the tape, I'll be able to have a better, more definitive decision on that. But even last year, like, I thought that C.J. Stroud was going to be the better quarterback than Bryce Young. The Panthers still took Bryce Young. Like, a lot of times, what we see those experts like PFF rank these players at tends to be pretty close to the order in which they get drafted, even if it shouldn't be.
I feel like Bo Nix is a little bit more of a non-conventional player. Like, Michael Penix is more up Sean Payton's alley as a pocket passer, which is why I think it's more likely to pick him. Okay. I think both Bo Nix and Michael Penix are day 2 picks. I don't think either one of them is a first-round pick. And if you use a first-round pick on him, I'm questioning your judgment.
Yeah, and very well, they maybe should be day 2 picks. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be picked day 2.
I don't think it's
we see teams make dumb decisions all the time. Remember when we watched Kadarius Toney get picked in the first round?
We watched Tim Tebow get traded up for in the first round.
Yes, with the Ravens.
Evan, you have Kirk Cousins.
Yes.
So that's an interesting choice.
I get the sense that the Vikings are done with him. They're tired of paying him. He's coming off an injury. So the Vikings are going to intentionally turn themselves into a quarterback desperate team, and Cousins is gonna go to a quarterback desperate team like the Broncos.
See, I would have agreed with you, except that pesky injury guarantee that the Vikings now owe Kirk Cousins kind of keeps him on the hook. Like, I was looking at him as an option for a QB needy team, but they owe him a lot of money, and their plan probably this offseason was to just cut him, and they could do it basically for no cost. But now it's going to come with a big cost. And so the only way they're going to be able to get rid of him is if they trade him. I think the Vikings are going to see themselves as, like, last year they were a borderline wildcard team, even with Cousins getting hurt. Mm-hmm. And Cousins played well when he was on the field.
Yeah, Cousins had a really hot start to the season.
Yeah, he did. So like, they have to look at it, weak NFC. If Cousins is healthy with that team, they can compete for a wildcard spot. I think that they just say, you know what? We owe him this much money, they end up keeping him. Like, that's why I didn't move him into this conversation.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too, and we'll get to the Vikings in a bit because Eric and I both have him, and obviously Evan does not since he's putting him on the Broncos.
What if I had Kirk Cousins there too? Right, just split him in half.
Yeah, just hey, you'll take.
You can
the
play
L.
for 2 different teams, right?
Yeah, you'll take the L on one just to make sure you got one of them right, and then he ends up playing like somewhere not even in the NFL.
He plays in Canada.
Yeah, he joins the UFL, the United Football League. He's playing for the DC Defenders. Hey, wouldn't that be hilarious?
Yeah. Sean would be all over that.
Yeah, probably. Mm-hmm. You're a snake. All right, let's move over to the Giants. Oh God.
Y'all have Danny Dimes.
Again, this is a you're stuck with them pick. They decided to give this guy $40 million a year last year. He gets hurt.
Yeah, he's under contract through 2027?
Yeah, so I don't think they can get rid of him. Evan, you clearly think that they will do whatever they can to get rid of him, and they're going to end up with Michael Penix.
Yeah. Now here's my question for you, Evan, because you got 5 points on Penix. Are they getting rid of Daniel Jones, or is Penix starting week 1 over Danny Pennies?
I mean, I guess maybe the latter's more plausible, but like, I don't think Danny Dimes is very good. And then, I feel like the Giants want to get rid of him anyway. So, they can pay him however much money he's supposed to make, and he can ride the bench, or they can just send him up the road and eat the money, right? Because the Giants aren't a competitive team, so what's the salary cap to them?
So my argument to you then would be, because just a few minutes ago, you agreed with Eric that Bo Nix and Michael Penix should both be day 2 picks.
Yeah.
If you're a quarterback that is a day 2 caliber quarterback, even if Danny Dimes is not a good quarterback, he's not really who you want to be your starter. You're just stuck with him on the roster because of the contract. You start him and you let Michael Penix develop behind him.
Develop.
Yes.
He's 30 years old too, right? Let him develop. Your film is overexposed, okay? Let him develop. No. There's nothing left to develop, right? Like when you're that age, you kind of are what you are.
Yeah, the benefit and the negative of drafting players like Michael Penix or Bo Nix is...
Brandon Whedon.
Yeah, is... One, that if the guy is good, he's going to be good right away. And if he's bad, you don't have to worry about him anymore because the instant he shows that he's bad, he's bad. You don't have to hold out hope. Well, maybe he'll turn the corner. No, he's 28 years old, man.
Turn the corner.
It's over.
Turn right into the AARP office.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's move on to the commodes. We are all picking Drake May with similar amounts of confidence. Washington has the number 2 pick in the draft. The presumption is that Caleb Williams will go number 1 overall. Drake May is the 2nd-ranked quarterback on the board. Evan and I watched him play in person, and it was something else. But yeah,
they can't possibly screw this up, right?
Well, they're going to pick Drake May, I think.
Okay.
They're going to mess him up.
I mean, in terms of who they pick, they can't possibly screw this up.
Yeah, so we're all on the same page here.
Yeah, I mean... we are a Washington area-based podcast, and even though none of us are Commanders fans anymore, commodes, what do we think of May's potential in the NFL, and do we think that if the Commanders actually do select May here, do we think that gives them any sort of a lift?
Oh yeah, I mean,
I
why'd they bring him in here if he's not gonna improve the team?
I think he's a worthy number 2 overall pick at the quarterback position, which means he should be, you should project him to be a franchise QB at that point. And when was the last time they had one of those?
Is he going to be this year's CJ Stroud?
Is going to be this year's RG3, right?
Nobody.
The last
CJ
time they
Stroud
picked
wasn't
second.
supposed to be this. Even in your opinion, you didn't think he was going to be this good.
I definitely did not think that he was going to be this good this quickly, or that he was going to lift such a bad team that quickly. And granted, he had a lot of help. They had Will Anderson as a high draft pick on the defense. Tank Dell ended up being an absolute gem at wide receiver that I was not even thinking about during preseason. Nico Collins had a huge year. So there were a lot of things that helped the Texans to become what they were this year. The Commanders need a lot of other pieces too, and they don't have the draft capital that the Texans had last year and the Texans were able to acquire. So they did have to trade up to get Will Anderson.
Yeah.
I don't see the Commanders finding a way to trade up to get not only May at 2, but somebody else impactful in the first 10 picks.
I don't think they need to do all that, though. They're in a better situation roster-wise than the Texans were coming into the season.
But
the Texans had nobody.
But they
and no
also are in a much worse situation division-wise in terms of the competition around them.
Are they?
Yes.
I mean,
Did the Eagles fire Matt Patricia yet? Has that happened?
The Eagles are still better than any of the teams in the AFC.
You didn't
South
answer my question.
Year, the Eagles are still better. Even with Matt Patricia, they are better than all 4 AFC South teams were last year.
Matt Patricia's a hold my beer kind of guy. Don't challenge him to be terrible because he'll be real terrible. Wait, watch this, right? And then something good happens. He's going to take credit for it.
The Eagles this year were better than every AFC South team except for the Texans.
Not by the end of the year, they weren't. I think the Titans would have beaten the Eagles with the way they were playing. They were so bad. They were the worst team in football.
The Titans were so bad.
The Titans still beat the Jags.
The Jags were so bad.
Yeah. I would still take the Jags to beat the Eagles.
Those Eagles who quit,
Those Eagles
right? They're,
quit,
they're
man.
like, we're done.
They
No.
packed it
They got
in.
the 10-1. It's like, you know what? We won the Super Bowl now,
The
actually.
Jaguars
Chiefs,
and the
and they were
Titans
like,
weren't
all right.
even like the second best team in their division. The Colts were better than both of them,
Okay.
and the Colts would not have beaten the Eagles.
Yes, they would.
No.
Yes, they would.
No.
Did you watch the Eagles the last 6 weeks of the season? Man?
Yes, I watched
They
the
were
Eagles
so
last
bad.
6 weeks of the season. They were so bad.
They couldn't football anymore. They just couldn't do it.
They just didn't do it. All right, let's move on to the Vikings. Corey and I already discussed why we have Kirk Cousins returning to the Vikings. Evan, you have, obviously, Cousins going to Denver. You and Gus Johnson apparently salivating over J.J. McCarthy's NFL prospects. I still can't believe he said that on TV. And I was just like, I was looking at my computer, and it was Big Ten Saturday, and I was just like, I looked up, and I was like, what? J.J. McCarthy has NFL scouts salivating? I typed him into Google, and I typed in J.J. McCarthy PFF just to look at Pro Football Focus, see what they said. They're like, nah, he's like a mid-round pick at best. I'm like, yeah, that's what I thought. This guy's not that good.
I don't think he's that good either. Another complete dart throw. I feel like the Vikings...
FanDuel has McCarthy going to the Falcons.
Oh,
I think
no.
that's more believable, but still not.
That's a terrible idea. Do they want to win or not? Like, what?
You just talked about the reason that you don't have Kirk Cousins going back to the Vikings because they're tired of him and they want to win, and you put J.J. McCarthy with them. Do they want to win, Evan?
They have to put somebody in there, and I felt like J.J. McCarthy was the most likely guy after Kirk Cousins was sent to Denver. So, you know.
Do you have Russell Wilson on any team? I don't think
Out
you
of
do.
the league.
Out of the league.
Damn. All right.
Do you think Russell Wilson's going to the Hall of Fame?
Probably not anymore.
Not
but
anymore. So,
yeah.
so we agree that he has played his way out of the Hall of Fame.
I think so,
Because that was
yeah.
a hot take of mine, like during the season, and I loved that take.
I don't know if I was ever 100% sold that he had played himself into the Hall of Fame.
I was pretty certain.
I was certain to.
I felt like he got to where he was very much borderline, but I think I always felt like he needed to do a little more to actually solidify that resume.
If he didn't suck so bad, right? If he just, stayed in Seattle and was just good, I think they would have put him in. But like as soon as he goes to Denver and is on national TV every night, just throwing the ball somewhere.
Not throwing the ball, taking a bunch of sacks.
Yeah. Like what do you do? It's like, oh, it's sort of a revelation. Like, you know what? And this is recency bias, of course, but like, this guy kind of sucks actually.
The bigger revelation was we gave Russell Wilson so much credit for
the Legion of Boom teams.
And not the Legion, but like the post Legion of Boom teams where he's like, oh, Russell Wilson has all. He has no offensive line. He has these archaic offensive coaches and this, that, and the other. Mm-hmm. And then Geno Smith, who was an afterthought in the NFL, goes in there and is making Pro Bowls and getting contract extensions and taking them to the playoffs. And suddenly we're like, maybe Russell Wilson was the problem the whole time.
Yeah.
I definitely felt like Russell Wilson was on a Hall of Fame trajectory. But there's a difference between that and like he's solidified his place in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, I had him on a trajectory.
The way
right?
he was discussed was as future Hall of Famer Russell Wilson. There was so much outcry over the fact that he never received
that for so many players.
But there was so much outcry about the fact that he never received an MVP vote. Like Russell Wilson of all people deserved an MVP vote at some point, even though he never has. Like there was an elevation of his stature.
He never had a season where he got a vote for MVP?
It's hard to get a vote.
I know it is, but I thought that there was a season where he got a vote.
He had one season where he finished second. That was the year Lamar won. Who got all the votes?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
Okay. Gotcha.
That was the only time he was in the MVP conversation.
I think that's the year that I was like thinking of, but I didn't remember that it was the year that Lamar won unanimously.
Yeah.
Got it.
Didn't get any votes. Anyway, let's move on to the Bears. Bears. Evan and I are in agreement that Caleb Williams will be starting week 1 for the Bears. Evan less confident than me. Corey, as discussed earlier, still has Justin Fields as the starting quarterback. I feel like we kind of discussed this already, but
sort of. But
where
I guess I'll just
Caleb Williams going.
I'll just kind of.
Yeah, where do you?
I have him on the very next team. If you scroll down just a little bit,
I
have him on the Falcons.
Oh, okay.
I think that the Falcons have the 8th overall pick. I feel like the Falcons are the team that both needs a quarterback and can offer a package that would make sense for the Bears to take to move the number 1 pick. They get the 8th overall pick. They could probably get a first-round pick next year. and they could probably get a second-round pick both this year and next year for their first overall if they trade it to the Falcons. I think that is the best realistic package that they can hope to get. And I think that is a package that would absolutely, for them, make it worth holding on to Fields and rolling dice with him for another year, get that 8th pick, a second-round pick this year, plus a first and second rounder next year, and start building up the team from there.
I mean,
I keep in mind also that there are a lot of people who are becoming less and less enthused over Caleb Williams. And and that's another thing that's making me start to feel like I don't know if the Bears, faced with the opportunity they have to stick with a quarterback who has been underwhelming at times, but has also shown some really impressive flashes at moments, who can be very dynamic, and we can go ahead and pass up on this quarterback that everybody agrees has to be the first overall pick. You can't take another quarterback over him, but you're also not really that sold on him. I think you jump at that opportunity if you're the Bears.
I think the opportunity the Bears jump at is to pick Caleb Williams. I
think it makes a little bit more sense purely from a contract standpoint, because then you get 4 years of control and potentially a 5th year of control over this player compared to Fields, where you're coming up on your last year basically. Unless can they still exercise the 5th year option, or is that time passed?
They should have already done that before.
They would have had to have already done that,
yes.
So that's passed. So they're coming up on the last year basically with Justin Fields. So if you're only looking at it from that standpoint, which is a perfectly fair standpoint to look at it from, I get that. And I wrestled with this because of that. But ultimately, I feel like the package that the Falcons can and probably will offer, I think the Bears take it.
I feel like if you're the Bears GM, your number one objective isn't to win games or to put a good team on the field. Your objective is to keep your job. If you pick Caleb Williams and trade Justin Fields away, you now essentially have 4 years to turn the team into a good team before you get sent up the road. But if you keep Justin Fields instead, you have this year, and that's it. So y'all better win this year. And if you don't win, then you're getting fired, and all of your assistants are getting fired, and all of their assistants are also getting fired. So it sort of resets the clock, and then like you mentioned, the contract as well. Saves the Bears some money. I do feel like the Falcons are foolish enough to be like, you know what, we'll just pick Justin Fields at 8, and you'll just do that.
I don't see how there's any justification for not picking Caleb Williams with the number 1 overall pick. How can you do that?
I wouldn't put it past the Bears,
That's,
right? That's why I would put 8.
The Bears are dumb, but there's no way you can do that with a quarterback who has proven nothing, and you're gonna put your eggs in the Justin Fields basket? No way. No way. That's not a thing. You're gonna give up on Caleb Williams so that you can get a bunch of theoretical picks for you to mess up somewhere else? Really? This is the guy that's considered a sure thing in this draft. Universally, unanimous number 1 pick.
Let me say this too. I think that it is way more likely that Justin Fields starts over Caleb Williams while on the same roster week 1 than it is for Justin Fields to be on another team.
That is more ridiculous than Justin Fields being the starter.
I don't think that there's a package that another team will offer for Justin Fields that the Bears will accept.
What are the Bears doing then? Right? They have to accept something. They don't have the leverage in this situation.
The Bears have
the first
overall
though.
pick and the 9th overall pick.
They
don't need to get cute with, I've got to get a big haul for a crappy quarterback who has proven nothing in the NFL.
It's the Bears. They're going to get cute.
Okay, but they're not going to pass on Caleb Williams. They're not going to get that cute. And they're eventually going to have to realize...
If they do draft Caleb Williams, Justin Fields is still starting week 1.
No chance.
What?
No chance.
No. You don't pick a guy 1-1 to have him sit. right? That's nonsense. That doesn't work in today's NFL. If you pick a guy 1-1, he's the guy, period.
Especially, you don't have him sit behind a guy who can't teach him anything because that guy doesn't know anything either. Like, he's not sitting behind some savvy veteran. He's sitting behind a guy
Tom
who we don't
Brady.
think can actually play.
That's why they're picking first.
Yes.
Or why they're picking ninth or whatever.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Just, no. You've already got your draft capital. You got your pound of flesh out of the Carolina Panthers, who made a dumb pick with Bryce Young. Be happy with that, and then take Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
Come on, man. All right. Atlanta Falcons, who are apparently getting Caleb Williams, according to Corey. Which would really make me mad. So Corey's got Caleb Williams as discussed. He thinks that the Falcons are going to unload a ton of draft capital to send to the Bears. I have Russell Wilson going to the Falcons because he's got to go somewhere.
Unless you're Evan.
I don't have him anywhere.
Out of the league.
Out of the league.
Evans got Justin Fields again. I mentioned that I flip-flop between Wilson and Fields being Falcon or Steeler. It could go either way. I have low points on both. But anyway,
this we already went over.
Yeah, we kind of talked about all this. So do we have to talk about this again?
I mean, Justin Fields is from Georgia, so
That's true.
he
went to Georgia.
He was there, and they started
Jake Fromm State Farm over.
Jake Fromm State Farm, yes.
Yeah. Is he still in the league?
In the NFL?
NFL, yeah. He was a backup for a little bit. With the Jets.
I thought I heard his name.
Jets.
I thought I heard his name somewhere. Like he's collecting a check from somebody.
Good for him.
Yeah, good for him.
Should be collecting one from State Farm. Okay. Do we have to talk about the Falcons here? Because we kind of beat this already.
No.
Yeah.
We've already addressed
Yeah,
it.
I think we're good.
So our last highlighted group, for some reason, is Brock Purdy. Corey has 27 points. Evan and I are less confident, 17 and 19.
Well, part of the reason that I went ahead and put them in here is because we talked about, one Super Bowl quarterback, so may as well just go and talk about the other one. But also because we do have a bit of a disparity there, 10 points difference between my 27 points and your 17 points, Eric. So I'm a little bit curious, like what your guys' thought process was in, like moving Purdy down a little bit in the rankings among those players that you feel like are kind of lost. Like, Eric, this feels like this is kind of getting into that range that you were referring to earlier of you're stuck with him.
He is one guy in his own category where I have.
So you've got like 16 and down is like they're stuck with them. Like 16 down to 10 is like you're stuck with them.
Yeah.
18 on up is like you're locked and like you're happy you got a long-term deal.
Yeah, Purdy I have as could move on, won't. Like they could in theory. Like, he's on a rookie deal and not even like a real rookie deal. He's on a 7th round rookie deal. He's making peanuts. If they said, you know what? If Kyle Shanahan's love affair with Kirk Cousins continues and he says, I'd rather have Cousins than Purdy, he could do that if he wanted to.
Yeah.
But I don't think
Tom
he will.
Brady, right?
Yeah, there's Tom Brady, but I don't think that's even allowed. And Brady's going to be 47 this year. That hasn't stopped him before, I guess.
No.
But
the fact that Shanahan was sticking with Garoppolo after he like led them to the Super Bowl in air quotes because he didn't really lead them there, but he was their quarterback as they went to the Super Bowl.
He lost them the Super Bowl.
And he was there, and he stuck with him after those Super Bowl runs.
Yeah.
He never moved on from him immediately after that.
Getting paid a bunch
He's
of money.
definitely not going to move out Brock Purdy, who has been a better quarterback than Jimmy Garoppolo has ever been.
Absolutely. That's why I'm saying they're not going to move on him, but I'm saying if they really wanted to, they have the ability to do so.
No, I mean, you're right.
So I ranked them low.
They're not as stuck together. But I think Purdy's kind of a lock as well.
I think he's earned his keep.
I feel like any Super Bowl quarterback is a lock, barring injury.
Trent Dilfer wasn't.
No, I
won
was about to say Elvis Grbac. No, that's who replaced Trent
Now I'm
Dilfer.
nervous. Taking me all the way back to 2000 and the very first Super Bowl I ever used Madden to predict.
Okay, but Brock Purdy was actually good.
Yes,
right?
he was actually good.
I think Shanahan would be silly to move on from him.
But Trent Dilfer was a first-round pick.
Like, unless he somehow got, like, a superstar, which is not going to happen because nobody's going to give up their superstar quarterback. They're going to stick with Purdy.
This just in, Dak Prescott's no longer following the Cowboys on Instagram.
What?
That means absolutely nothing.
That means literally zero.
Kyler Murray wasn't following the Cardinals anymore either, and guess where he's playing? He's playing for the Cardinals.
I mean, Julio Jones got himself a whole bunch of money by unfollowing the Falcons.
Doing stuff like that.
So as I mentioned earlier, all 32 of our picks for quarterback with our confidence points are on our website. You can find it there, and we will post a link on our Twitter and Facebook pages.
I want to see some of the other picks y'all made. It's like, what was the process for picking these teams to discuss? I'm just out of my curiosity,
Well, so
right? Not
so
out of
as
criticism. I wonder.
As I was
things.
going through and like narrowing down which teams we would actually discuss, it was any team that we didn't all agree on the quarterback.
Okay.
Any team where the quarterback that we're thinking about either is not on that team's roster currently or is not even in the league yet because they are an incoming rookie. So like the Patriots and the Commanders, we all somehow have the exact same rookie, but they're not in their league yet. They're educated picks. Like we all came to that.
We know ball.
Yeah. So
Right.
like I feel
That's why we're
more
on the
confident
podcast.
about those picks than I do like the other picks where the player isn't currently on the team. But if we picked a player for a team that is already on the team, was already their starter, and our confidence points were very similar, like within a handful of points, we didn't really need it. Like we didn't need to discuss Will Levis, where I have 13 and the two of you have 10, or Jalen Hurts, where Eric and I have 24 and you, Evan, have 25. Like we don't need to talk about that.
Okay.
Like those are like basically for our listeners. If we did not talk about a team, you can assume that we have the same guy starting for them next year,
And it's the obvious person.
as started for them this year, and we all have very similar confidence levels about it.
Okay.
Okay. Well, that does it for our show, unless we have any breaking news that's going to turn me into a hot little potato here. Evan, anything? Hurry.
Coaster Hour posted a story.
Okay, well, sorry. That's not cutting it for me.
There's a Woj bomb. No, I'm just kidding.
Depends on what
It's
it was.
possible. The trade deadline has come and gone. All right, so thank you guys again for tuning in. I guess I'll wrap this show up. You can reach us at thesportsballers@gmail.com for any feedback or mailbag questions you want to provide for us. You can get this podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, or Amazon. And if you have a preferred podcatcher, reach out to us and we will do our best to accommodate you. You can follow us on Twitter at SportsBallers18. You can follow us individually. Corey is at Corey Puffett. I am at Quagmire67. And Evan is at Evan_Ash13. All right, before we hit it, shout-outs. Anything? Corey?
Shout out to my wife. She's out of town this week, so just safe travels to her. She's at a work conference in Texas and visiting some friends of hers who live in Texas.
I need to plan a trip to Texas.
Yeah.
Fiesta, Texas.
Yes.
All right, Evan.
I don't have anything. Georgia Tech's down by only 19 points at home. So,
That's 29.
21.
Points, Evan.
29.
21, I'm sorry.
Well, it just changed. It was 68 to 49.
Oh, okay. I was confused. All right.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So we're getting toasted 5 minutes to play.
That's
So
not very good. All right, I got
that's
a
an L.
couple of shout-outs, two Maryland-related. Somber shout-out to Lefty Drizel, who passed away on Saturday, just a few hours before tip-off against Illinois. Obviously, there's never a good time for things like this to happen, but, it happening, just a few hours before game day made that game extra emotional to be in the building that day. Shout-out, on a happier note, to Derek Queen, not Derek Green, who recently apparently just committed to the Terps today. There was buzz that he would be making an announcement that was favorable to Maryland. This is positive news in what has been otherwise a pretty rough season for the Terps basketball team.
Oh.
Okay. And again,
Is this guy actually going to be good?
We don't know.
he's supposed to be, so we'll see.
So was
So was the
Mike
guy from Paul the
Jones.
Sixth.
Mike Jones was good.
Oh,
He was a good player.
okay.
He wasn't the number 2 shooting guard in the country behind LeBron James good.
Yeah, I thought he was the next best
So
player
was this
behind
guy from Paul the
LeBron.
Sixth. He was supposed to be good.
Yeah, he hasn't been very good, so that's alarming. Anyway.
What's Eric Hayes up to right now? What about him?
I'm putting some racist stuff on Twitter probably.
Oh, no.
Anyway, my final shout-out is to Matthew Slater.
Oh, yeah.
For those who know or don't know, Matthew Slater was a long time special teams specialist, I guess, for the New England Patriots. He won 3 Super Bowls with them. He was, I think, a 10-time Pro Bowler, primarily functioning as a gunner and an up back. I think he was a 5-time All-Pro as well at the position. And so just kind of remembering, we talked a little bit about Devin Hester being in the Hall of Fame now. He's selected. And, primarily as a special teamer because he wasn't particularly good or even notable as a corner or as a wide receiver. But then it's like, what do you do with guys like Matthew Slater, who, in terms of his impact to his team's success, arguably could be on a similar level to a guy like Devin Hester.
Absolutely.
You give him Hall of Fame consideration, or is it just hey, you made several Pro Bowls and you did all this and you won a bunch of championships, be happy with that. But anyway, regardless, fantastic career for him.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think that he definitely belongs in a similar conversation to Devin Hester in regards to that. But yeah, no, congratulations to him.
Yep.
Agree.
That's all we've got for this week's episode. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Next week, Evan will be running the show. We will have, I don't know,
Something.
more college basketball stuff, I guess.
We wrapping
Oh,
up the regular
boy.
season.
Yeah, regular season will be wrapping
Not
up,
a
I
moment
guess.
too soon.
We'll maybe inject some NBA nonsense for Evan's displeasure.
Oh boy, that sounds
and
great.
whatever Evan decides to come up with, he'll let you know next week.
And we'll actually have some spring training action to potentially discuss
Oh.
if we watch any of it.
Until then, take it easy.